Good afternoon and welcome to another Community Forum segment. My name is Mark Berryman, and with me today we have Hartwell City Councilman Trey Hicks. He's going to be talking about the Hart State Park project. It's a massive undertaking, and we're going to find out where that thing stands and what's happening with that. It's good to have you on the program, Trey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually had a chance to have you on the program. I've had a couple of people from Hart County and Hartwell on it, but I'm really glad to have you here, especially talking about this project. I've been looking at the master plan and all. This seems like quite a project. So why don't you give us a really quick overview of what the project is?
Well, it's a complete overhaul of the park. When we originally started looking at this, we brought in the people that do parks and said, if nothing is here at all, what would you do? And they completely planned the park out. That master plan is available online at hartwelllakeside.com if somebody wants to go look at that. And it's pretty detailed. The park is cut into different sections. There's the camping section. On the other side of the camping section is where the zip lines and the rope course and the sup rentals and the canoe rentals and the bicycle rentals, they'll all go over there. Then as you come in and you go to the right, the wedding venues will be on the right-hand side. We'll be able to do 5 different weddings there without them interfering with each other. So that's another section. Then there's a section for the restaurant, which is down on the point. Then we have the amphitheater, which is your first coming in. It'll be right there behind the little store. And then the hotel will eventually, or a lodge, will go on the marina side, looking down the river. So it'll be a beautiful view coming out of there.
Now, I also know that this has been in the works for some time now. Give us an idea of the process that you guys have had to go through and where you think you're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole process probably started in 2009 when the state basically closed the park. We became very active involved in it in 2014, and then in 2015 is when we actually really started moving forward and doing the things that we needed to do to get the park done. We went through a lot of normal stuff dealing with the Corps. Anyone that's ever dealt with the Corps will tell you that, as the Corps did in the very beginning, they recommended we might want to hire a consultant because
lots of hoops there.
Lots of hoops to jump through, and we jumped through hoops for 2 years. Pretty good. Some of the people at the Corps do not want this park. We feel purposely stalled it along the way, and we've just continued to march in a forward direction. We've gone through the Savannah office, and then we went through the regional office. Gone through headquarters office, and now we're at the undersecretary's office, which is where the final decision will be made. That gentleman is R.D. James. He is the Assistant Secretary for the United States Army Civil Works Division. And on our site, hartwelllakeside.com, we have his address and a sample letter if you would like to write him. And we encourage citizens to do that.
Now, I also know that you have a few high-powered folks behind you on this project that have also sent letters or made recommendations or whatever. Why don't you talk about a few of the people that you've got behind you?
Well, we have a good group behind us. Starting locally, the Hart Chamber has supported this. They've got a letter that's there that people can read showing our $11 million loss for the way the park is now. The county commissioners have written letters on our behalf to the assistant to the president. The Georgia DNR not only wrote a letter, they did a resolution supporting this project. The chairman of the Georgia DNR has written a letter. Governor Deal has written a letter. Congressman Collins has been very active in this and has written a letter. That letters are also available online. Senator Perdue's office has been involved with it, and Senator Isaacson's office has been involved with it. So from a political standpoint, we have gotten massive amounts of support. We would like to get a letter from President Trump. If he has time, we would appreciate a letter from him as well.
That wouldn't hurt a bit, I don't think. And hopefully you can come up with that. Or maybe they'll just go ahead and make the decision. I know you believe the decision is pretty close.
Yes, it is. It boils down to, is it legal and is it policy? We believe it is. Again, on hartwelllakeside.com, we have copies of the Corps policy and how we feel that this project fits into that policy.
So this isn't really something new that they have never done before. Am I right? I mean, they've done similar things in other locations.
Things, yes. Well, right here in the state of Georgia, a project that is a lot larger than this one would be Lanier Islands. This is a very small project compared to
Lake Lanier Islands, definitely.
The special conditions for that project were almost 36 pages, and ours are about 6. So we're not asking for anything near what Lanier Islands has today. We're just asking for the ability to finance a hotel. And this is really what this whole battle has been about, is about the hotel. The Corps has been agreeing for quite some time. Originally, the problem was that it was the city of Hartwell, and we were a small city, and we didn't have the resources to do this park. We don't even have a parks department. So it was a little mind-boggling for them that why would we want to do this? And it's taken some time to explain to them that we're not doing it. This is being done through private investors. All the things that we're talking about doing are being done through private investors. The maintenance on the park is all going to be paid for by private investors. So it's a little bit different than what the Corps is accustomed to, where just the government runs everything. This also creates the same problem with the state coming back in, because if the state took this project back on, the state's in the same budget restraints as we are. There's restraints there. They don't have the funding to build all the things that we've shown with a market study that this can be done, and is a very feasible plan. We've done the feasibility study. All of that, again, is available on hartwelllakeside.com. So if the state took it over, they would be in the same position. In order to get a hotel, a lodge, in order to get private investors, you have to have funding. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, is to be able to get the funding to be able to do this with private money, not with tax money.
And I understand this is not just speculation. You have people that are interested in joining with the city, private people that are ready to join in with the city with this project.
Oh, absolutely. We've had people that have been involved, private investors that have been involved for quite some time now. We went through a request for proposal and had investors come in. We have one gentleman in particular that's been very, very involved in the planning and in the layout of the sewage system that's already done, the layout of the roads that we've done, how that's going to work the best. And the first year, this gentleman is wanting to put 20 new cabins in. So that's our struggle as well. We've got a gentleman that is very excited about this park and is ready to move today. I mean, he's waiting on us to be able to tell him to go, and he's assigning 20 new cabins there. All the campgrounds will be upgraded. They'll have new power facilities there. Internet will be available all the way through the park. It'll be cleaned. It'll be to a standard that it's never been before.
And you're adding a lot of cabins as well as that hotel.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we've got 20 cabins coming in right away as soon as we get signed, with plans for 40 more. We've got yurts. There's a TP area. So between those two, in addition to the cabins, we're very excited about this.
And yurts, yurts, I'm getting a little stumble there myself. Those are getting to be very popular. So it'd be nice to see those there as well.
Oh, yeah. It's really a nice area. There's a section of the park that only tents are allowed because of flood zone. And that's where we're looking at putting this yurt style in there.
Because they are basically a tent.
They are just basically tents.
But a little upscale tent. I guess that's what they're calling glamping these days. Glamping. Not camping. It's called glamping.
I'll tell you, it's the way I am. I'm too old to be laying on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know that I could handle laying on the ground overnight anymore either. There was a time I loved doing it, but I don't think I could do that anymore either. Now, let's suppose this is approved. Do you have a time frame that it'll take to get this to certain stages or anything yet?
Sure. Everything is done in stages. The first emphasis will be on the campground, getting it up to where it needs to be, which is a long way because the state has let it go down since the budget cuts in 2009. So that's our first stage. Then the zip lines and the row courses will be coming next. While they're coming on board, the wedding venues will be coming on and come into place there. All of that probably within the next 3 to 4 years. The restaurant on the point is probably 3 to 4 years out, so that we can build that base. And then the amphitheater will go in. The amphitheater will create a lot of attraction there. That'll be able to seat 3,000 people. We're a little less than a mile from the mega ramp now, so we'll be able to have the major fishing tournaments there. That's been one of our drawbacks, as well as be able to put on other events in that area. And then the final stage will be the lodge. So it's funny that the last stage of this project is what is taking really the longest to get done. But this city council believed that it was worth that. We were never going to get that. If we didn't get it up front, we were never going to be able to get it. If we didn't get these concessions put in to be able to have it. So we've never looked at this as a short-term plan. This is a long-term plan, and it could take a little longer, but just as with everything else, that growth will come. This will be a great park for Middle America, which is what the whole park is being focused on. So we expect great things there.
And once you've got that done, there's a lot of potential there, I believe, for growth in the Hart County area.
Sure. Just the visitors alone. The national average is every visitor to that park will spend anywhere from $30 to $65 a day in the community. Now, they may not come out every day to do that, but they will do that along the way. They're going to get fuel. They're going to eat out. They're going to buy supplies that they didn't bring. So just the draw to other businesses will help. There's been people that have been looked at. There have been people that are looking at putting subdivisions in that area because of the growth that'll have in that area. We as a city are growing. When I was first elected, we talked about this. We talked about that the potential was there. And I think we're growing in a good direction. Our downtown is doing better than it's ever done. There's another area we're starting to plan for, looking at parking alternatives. Who would have thought 15 years ago?
Yeah, that you'd have parking problems, but there are.
There are parking problems, and some of us did think that 15 years ago.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
Problems like that are always a good thing. You want to solve them, they are problems, but that tells you that things are getting better.
Yeah, so, well, our community is a phenomenal place. I truly believe that I live in paradise. I say that all the time, but I really believe so. I mean, the area, the climate, the people are some of the best that you'll ever find anywhere. And I've been all over the United States for sure. And the peace and serenity that we can find in our community is what people are wanting to come for. Tourism is a unique animal. It's not a steady every day. It's something that comes and you flourishes for a while and then it backs out. And we've never taken advantage of that. We're getting there in lots of different areas.
Very good, very good. Is there anything else about the project that maybe I have not asked that you'd like to say?
Well, I know that a lot of people have been frustrated. And I have asked people not to write letters, to not to do the things, to let the system work itself out, to let the Corps do what they needed to do. For the most part, these are gentlemen and ladies that are following regs. It's not about emotion. It's not about feelings for them. It's about regulations. And this process has taken quite some time. The big question has been, do we have community support? As a small city of Hartwell, are we going to be able to support and do the things necessary to maintain this park, even with private funding? Now's the time for people to step up and say, you know what, we want this park. We want to support this park. And all that contact information will be on Hartwell Lakeside, which is what the park wouldn't be named. It won't be Hart State Park anymore.
No, and I know you've got a new logo for it, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Like you said, it's all available on hartwelllakeside.com.
Yep, you can see the logo, you can see everything about it. And again, with the golf course, what has happened out at Katichi, bringing on Hart State Park and making it Hartwell Lakeside. The marina is continuing to grow. Our downtown is continuing to grow. Our retail shops are continuing to come in. New businesses are opening and other businesses are moving out. We're in a transition stage, and this is very important to our community.
I believe so too. And in closing, the alternative is just to sit there and watch it deteriorate, because the city doesn't have the money to do, anything with it on its own. Obviously, the state doesn't, or the Corps doesn't, because they wouldn't have shut it down if they did. So the only alternative is to let it continue to just go to waste.
Correct.
At least that's the way I see it.
Yes, I don't see any other alternatives outside of here. The state may come back in and they'll clean up some things once they know that for sure we're never going to take it. That they'll come in and do some things, but they're not ever going to be able to take this park to the potential. They're never going to be able to add the 60 cabins. They're never going to be able to add a zip line and a rope course and a hotel or the wedding venues or a 2-story restaurant on the point. They can't add those things either without a proper lease. So we're just going through a battle. We appreciate all the support that the community has provided so far.
Well, I want to thank you for being here and talking with me about it. I learned a little by studying the stuff that you had told me to look at. I've learned even more by listening to you today, and I'm a supporter. I believe this is important for Hartwell and for Hart County and this whole area, and I believe it has huge potential, and it's something that the court needs to give serious consideration of and finally go ahead and get it approved.
Well, we hope so, and like I say, just please educate yourself. Deal with the facts. We've tried to display all of those again on hartwelllakeside.com. So go out and educate yourself, and let's get these letters going from the community and flood R.D. James's office. When he comes back from the Christmas holidays, I'd like to have a great big red bag there full of letters from Hart County.
Very good, very good. Today, my guest has been Trey Hicks. He's a councilman for the city of Hartwell. We've been talking about the Hartwell Lakeside Resort area. You know it as Hart State Park. It's a huge plan. It's a huge undertaking. And according to Trey, his belief is that we are right on the verge of getting that approved. So hopefully we're going to have you back in the near future talking about the approval and what the next steps are.
That'll be awesome.
I'll be glad to do that once that approval comes in. You just let me know. We'll have you right back here again.
Look forward to that day.
Even if it's next week.
That'll be great. Next week would be perfect.
Anyway, for WLHR, my name is Mark Berryman. Have a pleasant Sunday.